Up and running, and Villa Park is loud.
Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with. Usually it's a Monday night, but we thought we'd jump in a day later just to give us some time to reflect on what's been a wonderful week for Aston Villa. And bring you your fans forum. I do have Kev joining very shortly, and possibly even Rich making an appearance. But this show's all about you guys, so you get involved in the comments, ask any questions, anything you want to talk about regarding Villa on and off the pitch. I've got a couple of subjects I want to bring up. But yeah, it's your show, guys. It's your show. So get involved in the chat, and any comments that you want. We are well on the road to 3K. We have, I think, at last count, 145 left to go, maybe even 144. So please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, help us get to that 3K number before Christmas. The support's been amazing. So, yes, continue to keep supporting us. And if you do want to become a member, we've had 3 people join the channel in the last couple of days and becoming official Villa Park Pod followers. Hit the join button or hit the $sign and follow the instructions from there. I've got the lads in the background waiting. The OG, Mr. Bartlett. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are
Good
you?
to have you on board. Yeah, good, man.
Always
Good.
to be here.
Making an appearance, which is always good. And I've
Christmas
got the
time,
man
isn't it, as well,
himself,
man?
Mr. Exactly. It's like Santa once a year.
Yeah.
And I've got the man himself, Mr. KT AVFC. How are you doing?
Great, Rich. Hello, Rich. Rich squared tonight. Fantastic.
Rich squared indeed, yeah.
Rich squared. The more mature audience, more mature, shall we say, hosts today.
Yeah, we've got a combined age of 127. Sorry.
We have, yeah.
Good maths. Thanks.
I think it's
well,
128,
there we go.
isn't it?
What?
128.
Is it? I'm not yet. Nearly.
Oh God, yeah, you're not there yet, are you? Yeah, you are right.
Not yet, mate. Not yet.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just writing you off. Sorry, mate. You've still got a good month and a bit left.
Exactly, a solid month and a bit till I'm 43. Anyway, keep going. Rich, move this on quickly, mate. Quickly.
I know this is riveting viewing. This is
dead air time.
Loads of comments in. Everyone saying hello to each other. Rich has informed us that United are losing 1-0. So that does mean that 5th spot for the Champions League could be gone. So, we're not worried about that, are we? We're not worried about 5th spot anymore.
Doesn't bother us.
No. Okay. Deco's in the house. Hello, mate. Gaza. Hello, pal. Rachel is in the house. Adamski's joining as well, which is great. Gary has got a hi all and a pink hand waving. It likes to tell us there, which is great. How good was Carlos this week? Yeah, yeah, he was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. So, as I said, you guys get involved in the chat. Let us know your thoughts. But I did want to cover first, and I'm sure you will love this, Kev. Rich may be a little bit more reserved, shall we say, but I've put top for Christmas ?
What you want a top for Christmas?
Yeah, I need Christmas jumper for work.
I'll get you a top for Christmas, mate.
Yeah. But Rich said their top spot it is. But Kev, come to you first. I know we look at it game by game and all that, but we like to dream. We love to dream. We've got Brentford away, Sheffield United at home, Man United away, obviously that's Boxing Day, and then Burnley at home, right? Now I've just had a quick look at the fixtures for this weekend, and I believe it is Liverpool v Man United on
Yep.
Sunday. And I think Man City have got Palace. But then the week after, Man City are playing in the World Club Cup, and Arsenal have Liverpool. So the question is,
Top for Christmas.
could it be done? Could it be done?
Absolutely, it could be done. I mean, the relevance of fifth spot in Champions League now not being possible matters to me about as much as the playoffs for League Two, because we're not going to be anywhere near fifth spot. I truly believe we'll finish top four. The way unless we have an unbelievably horrendous injury crisis, I just think that we are. Look at the form across the last year, and I think that's what a lot of people that aren't that close to Villa, like obviously we all are on this pod, might just think, is it just a good spell this season? You've had a good week. But if we look at the table this year, we're second, aren't we? We're second across the calendar year, and we're in December. So that shows that the longevity there of the performances. Now, our problem has been having the consistency of the away performances. So I'm pretty confident with Sheffield United and Burnley, because, I think if this was old Villa, then we'd be worried about beating Man City and Arsenal and then losing to Sheffield United and Burnley. But I'm pretty confident about those. It's the away trip we've got to. I'm actually more bothered about going away to Brentford than I am to Man United. But still, we haven't replicated that kind of form away from home. But if you think that we get, 10 points, 8 points possibly from that run of games, then I think you've got a good chance of being there or thereabouts. Or will we need 10 minimum to be top for Christmas?
It's a hard one to say, isn't it? Because you've got Man City play one game, obviously they're in the World Club Championships. Then Liverpool, they're probably the ones I would say that you'd fancy them to get a decent result against Man United, and then probably favourites against Arsenal. But I mean, Rich, going into the Brentford game, we get a result off that at Brentford. It's not going to be easy, but
It was was it 1-1 there last season?
Late Louise goal. It was part of our good run at the end of the season. Yeah.
Without wanting to be the Grinch, I disagree that the top four is wrapped up for us. Like we don't have the squad currently to maintain the level that we're playing at, even if we have a couple of injuries. I'm not talking about any huge injury crisis. I'm talking about John McGinn, a Martinez, a couple of our star players go out. We're in trouble, and I don't want to be glass half full guy, but
half empty.
I just want us to enjoy it for what it is. I don't think we should be. Listen, when you talk about what's going to happen before Christmas, there's a good chance that we'll pick up points. We'll go to Brentford. There's a good chance we'll pick up points against Sheffield United, etc., etc. They're fighting for their lives. A new manager. You wouldn't be surprised if they turned us over. It wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world that our home form, our run of winning games at home ends because Sheffield United bully us and beat us. I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is, because if we start getting carried away thinking, I know I've ruined your Christmas there, Kev, sorry. I know if we start thinking, it's on.
I feel like going. I feel like going to the pub. I feel sad now. I'm feeling positive.
See, I think we beat Sheffield United. I think we beat Sheffield United. I don't think there's a new manager. It's fine. It'll be 3 games in. It'll be fine. But I think Brentford's a bit of a tougher proposition. If we can pick up a decent result there, but they've not got Mbeumo, he's injured. They've obviously not got Ivan Toney. We haven't got, this isn't a match preview, but we haven't got Louise and Dina. But you're thinking, a couple of other players coming in, getting their opportunity. Moreno, Ramsey, that they can show what they've got. I do agree with you though, Rich. It's still and we will come on to it in a bit, the positions where you'd think if you get an injury, But this would be the same for any team, probably barring Arsenal. If their goalkeeper gets injured for any team across the Prem, apart from Arsenal, they would be struggling. Look at Newcastle. Look at Newcastle. Pope's injured and Dubravka's the next man, and he's poor or playing poorly. So, but then Watkins as well. You've got to say that if he got injured, although someone made a great point, the goals have come across the team, so.
Yeah, I don't think top four's sewn up. I mean, I'm slightly sort of tongue in cheek when I say, fifth spot, not for me, not bothered. Clearly, we've got a long way to go, and I don't think for 1 second top four sewn up. But I do think now that I've started to just to rid myself of some of these doubts, because I was having these doubts going through this season, and every time we'd have a bad result, I thought, oh God, maybe that's maybe the wheels will come off a little bit, and then we would just respond. And then I thought, when I saw the year's results and the performances, I mean, his first 50 games, Unai's got 2 more wins than Pep Guardiola did in his first 50 games at Man City. If we are not now going to have some confidence in terms of moving forward, and look, any team can lose. We look at some of the results lately. Liverpool was so lucky to get away without losing at the weekend. Just a really dodgy couple of decisions for Jordan Ayew. Arsenal got took to the wire, didn't they, by Luton? I mean, you've seen results all across the board. And clearly, we're not infallible. But I have absolute confidence in those 2 home games, and I believe we will get a result of one of the 2 away games as well. So if the question is top for Christmas, well, I think we're looking at the other teams' fixtures. You're right, Rich. Probably Liverpool's the biggest one, but I'm just trying to be optimistic now. I know possibly that a couple of injuries is gonna knock all the wheels off the car. I can't think about that. I just want to limp to Christmas, get to the new year. If we're there or thereabouts, I do then think we probably will strengthen. And then it might ease a bit of that pressure. But also, when you look at the squad, the players that came off the bench at the weekend, from a Cash to a Diaby to a Moray,
look good.
Ramsey, Duran's not looked too shabby when he's come on. He looks like he can do a job in that league.
I know, but he's not a top 4 striker. Like you mentioned there, Rich, about Watkins not being involved in the goals, and that's true. And they're coming from all over the place. But he's not. He's not always going to get.
He's not going to give the defenders a headache. Yeah, he's not going to be.
His game brings other players in. Yeah, that's one of that's arguably he's the best in the league at doing that.
The question I just ask on that point though is, and I don't disagree with Duran having some weaknesses. He's still raw. He's not perfect. But if you look at a front 2 option of, and I guess you could throw Diaby in there, but if we just go Duran and Watkins, is that any worse than Richarlison, who seems to play up top, and Son?
Yeah.
Is that any worse than Man United's front 2? Is it any worse than Nketiah and Jesus in terms of ability to score goals? I think it's there or thereabouts. I would love us to buy Dominic Solanke in January. I think he'd be ideal for us in terms of that kind of striker he is. But I've got more confidence than I used to.
He's no better than he's not better than Watkins. Like if we're going to go out, and I was listening to Chris Sutton talking earlier. The question is, are Villa going to go out and break the bank on someone that can get them 30 goals a season? Because you're not winning the league. You might be briefly top for Christmas with a Duran as your backup striker. The rest of our team, defense, brilliant. We've seen, one of the comments about Carlos, I'm sure we'll get into it. Like, we can bring players in that now look comfortable. Torres looks class, absolutely class. Like, he looks like he's always played in that league. You mentioned you got Cash coming off the bench, Diaby coming off the bench because Bailey's playing well. There's just not that like lethal goal scorer that we don't need. But if Watkins gets injured, it's not Duran. It just isn't. Is good enough, perhaps top 8, top 10. I'm
middle of the road with this, because I think, and we will talk January reinforcements because that is going to come into it. I just want to more focus on kind of this top at Christmas business, because we will talk reinforcements, because I am slightly in the middle of where you boys are at with this. Just on the back of, yes, Watkins gets injured, but also if you look across the other teams, like Kev says, there aren't many that have got like 2 brilliant strikers. So let's just put a pin in that for a second. Few comments coming in. Black Rum said, "Evening lads, looking forward to a brilliant show as usual." Gary, in reference to us top at Christmas, better chance than Cliff Richard. Rich Edwards, we win all of them. Adamski said after the Arsenal match, he went and bought a ton of merch from the Villa store. Can't even remember what he bought. I think he might have got a Villa digital clock. Deco says, I think top by New Year, we grind out those 4 games against Brentford, the Blades, Man U and Burnley. We'll be there or thereabouts. Lettuce or cabbage, I think, for old Sprucey boy. Rich said, Emery's the best manager we've ever had by far. In relation to Brentford, Adamski said Brentford aren't scoring much. Deco said if he hadn't got engaged last week, congratulations, mate. He'd marry Unai, and he still might. I think Gary was saying he might sound like Danny Murphy, Rich, just playing us down there. Adam said we always get overconfident, then lose against easy opponents. Not that Brentford are easy. Yeah, that's still that little bit of nagging doubt in us. Gary said we will drop off, no doubt, but hopefully not too much. A Europa League spot and a cup win is fine with me. What else have we got? Blackburn said if we stay injury free, we will be okay. My concern is if we went through what Newcastle and Spurs go through, we don't have the depth in squad. So I think January transfer window is very important. Just on that though, I do think that the way that they play, both those sides play, contributes to their injury impact. Like if you look at the intensity that both Newcastle and Tottenham press and what he's asking of the players physically, I think that is a different proposition to what Unai Emery does. So obviously, touch wood, I don't think that we would have the intensity of injuries that those clubs have had. I don't know what you boys think of that.
The games come thick and fast, right? So whilst we don't have an amazing squad yet, we've certainly got a very good squad that can handle some of the European games, and it's nice to see that Emery has been confident in giving players minutes in those games. So you're probably right, although I couldn't talk about how tactically different Spurs are to us. For example, we do a high press. We press teams to get that ball back, and I wouldn't, it wouldn't surprise me if we had a bad injury. But then talking about injuries, can't forget that Buendia and Mings we've suffered that and we are surviving it. But would either of those two make the first team? Probably not. There'd definitely be strength on the bench for us though. So I don't know. I just want to enjoy for what it is, because as soon as we start building it up to be something else, then we finish 5th and it's a shit season because we could have had first or second.
But it was fun thinking about it though, wasn't it? Just for a bit.
Yeah,
you sound like Jim Bowen.
Yeah, it was what you could have won.
Think about the following analogy, right? You're a kid looking at the presents under the Christmas tree for 3 or 4 weeks, thinking it's a PS5 that is, it's a PS5 that is, it's a PS5 that is. Turn up Christmas Day and it's like something shit you don't want, but at least you had the thought for 3 weeks it was a PS5. At least it made you feel good for a bit.
You feel let down by your parents, all your mates got PS5s,
Get a new parents. Rich, the point about the injuries for those teams, I always remember with they're very much like, particularly Spurs, almost that murder ball Bielsa type. And Leeds were known for being like, I think they were first or second in the league in terms of injuries because of the intensity of the training sessions. I think Villa's training sessions are intense. Sure, they're a fit team, but they're more mentally intense in terms of, the meticulous nature of Unai, hours and hours of video analysis. I don't think it's the same level. Spurs have got, the highest running stats in the Premier League, which is brilliant. But you saw when they played us at their place, we were absolutely like on the ropes for most of that game. And then like you said, Rich, in our post-match reaction, it was like a boxing match. It was like rope-a-dope, Foreman and Ali, and then all of a sudden they're absolutely wiped out. So I do think it probably does contribute to some of those injuries that they've got. I don't know the ins and outs of all those stats, but I just think that those two teams have, from the starts that they had, particularly Spurs, have obviously dropped off and ain't going to get any easier to get back with the form of the teams ahead of them.
No, but I mean, the press will love them. They're like, they can't stop. Like every time they win a game, it's like, the title race for title challenge is back on for Spurs. It's just sickening to listen to in a lot of ways. I can't cope with it. And I do like that Postecoglou. I really do, but I just think it's just it's just unbearable. Like they win a game and it's like all of a sudden it's Spurs title race back on, and Villa continue to win every game, yet they still managed to talk us down the fact that we've just beaten the treble winners of last season and the the current, again, the other darlings in the league.
Well, Rich, if you look at that point as well, like the craziness of it all is that Ten Hag won Manager of the Month, Maguire won Player of the Month, and then the very next game they got booed off the pitch.
Yeah,
Manager of the Month to booed off the pitch. But Unai, what does Unai need to do? Does he need to win every game 11-0 to win an award? Like, it's just how he's not had a Manager of the Month award yet is absolutely staggering. He's not had one, has he?
no, I don't think so. It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Simon says, "Can we get to 40 points first and be safe?"
Yeah, good thinking, Simon. I like that plan.
Yeah,
All over that. He loves that.
Adamsi said, "Bielsa ball 2.0 Spurs and Newcastle are a bit too." Michael said he's sorry to be late, working at the moment, so in and out. Don't worry,
Not
mate.
good enough,
Don't
Michael.
worry.
It's not acceptable.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be saying one game at a time as well. I'm sure you will. Adamski, push that like button, folks. Yep, listen to Adamski. Smash the like button, guys. And Dale's in the house. Good evening, mate. Great to have you on board. Yes, we'll talk transfers. Let's talk transfers. So, just before we do that, quick round robin. So, Kev, top by Christmas, yes or no?
No. Maybe by New Year.
Rich, top at Christmas.
Yeah, come on, top by, come on.
We win the
Yeah,
top at Christmas trophy.
Unai gets best Christmas manager award. Yeah.
Talking about.
Listen. I think we'll be done a favour because City will play one less game. Liverpool have got United are about to lose again to Bayern Munich. That's a do or die game for United at the weekend against Liverpool, and form is out the window when United play Liverpool. So it wouldn't be the strangest thing in the world if we picked up 4 points and that put us top of Christmas.
Yeah,
like it. Yeah.
Good. The other thought I had on that as well, mate, was if you look at the latter end of December games, Man City have got to go to Everton. Everton are in decent form at the moment, so I think that's going to be the gimme that we thought it might have been. Arsenal got a London. Yeah, Arsenal got a London derby against West Ham. So I just don't think it's going to be as easy. I think sometimes there's possibly
there's going to be some funny results in there as well. So it isn't going to be. It isn't going to be as cut and dried. And if you ask me now, would I take a point at Brentford? I'd say absolutely. So yeah. No, Kev's saying no. So yeah, some it's going to be interesting, but it's just how good is it to be in the conversation though, lads? Like I know we are starting to get some credit from the media, which is fine. I'm not bothered either way. But it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing. Finally.
Yeah, it is surreal. To have gone through the week that we've gone through, to have played as well as we have played. I mean, Arsenal, we were a little bit leggy. It wasn't the performance that we had against Man City, but to be able to just go toe-to-toe with those teams and come out on top. On a different day, that Havertz decision goes against us, perhaps, and it's 1-1, and that would have been kind of your typical Villa. But to show that mental resilience and that backbone, just great, absolutely great.
Yeah, stay there. Bournemouth won 4 out of 5. That draw is okay. They've beaten Man United and Newcastle. Yeah.
Totally.
So, second topic I wanted to just bring in, and there's a few comments that I've starred as well around kind of transfers. So, Rich saying January window is so important now. Deco saying Frimpong, Baena, Nico Williams. I could be convinced we're winning the league. You mentioned Solanke before. Kevin Adamski said he's an Emery type forward. And Buemo is only 23. Rich saying Solanke would be awesome backup. Jason asking the question: would a decent striker want to come and sit mainly on the bench mid-season? So, where are we saying that if any January reinforcements are needed? Where are we saying that we do need them? And realistically, what type of player is going to come in?
I'll go on this first. So the point around strikers. Look, fundamentally, Rich, I agree that I'd like us to have a better Duran. I think if we really want to truly compete at the top end of the league. But the question is this, and if you look at it, how easy is it for anybody to get a 20-goal a season striker, let alone a 30-goal a season striker? You've had Kane, you've had Salah, you've had Haaland. I don't think anyone else did it. You think you've had, maybe Wilson and Tony get close to it. I think potentially in a better team, Tony could. Wilson's had an injury history. Watkins has been up there in terms of the goal contributions of anybody. So this, I think it's a bit of a misnomer, actually. And I've been one of the ones that said it myself in the past. Bring someone else in when Watkins hasn't played well. Get Tammy in. Would Tammy score more than in the Premier League? Has he ever had an amazing season? So I think it's difficult to do it. So to answer the question you directly asked, what kind of player do I think we'll get? I could see us getting an experienced European, almost like the kind of profile. I remember Rodrigo at Leeds. That kind of player. Hard-working, eye for a goal, strong, bit of experience. That kind of player.
Could come on and do something, make an impact.
Yeah.
Either set up a goal or do something out of the
high pedigree quality. I'm hoping Monchi's got his little black book out now. He's making his way through the pages when he needs. That's the clear area for me, and I just think right back as well. I think right back in terms of having. If you look at Moreno and Digne, I don't think anybody is concerned this weekend that Digne is out. Not because, by the way, Digne hasn't been. We might do this on a pod or whatever Christmas, but for me, he's probably the most underrated player this season. He's been brilliant. You can't fault him at all. And I was even saying, Newcastle, Liverpool, is he quite good enough? But he's been great. But on the right hand side, if Konza got injured or Cash got injured, hey, you got Konza, but you haven't got the backup options. And I do think Emery would probably want the same kind of opportunity to attack on both flanks. They're there for me. The only other one might be midfield. Do we want a better Den Donker? Admittedly, he did well when he came on, but is that against somebody they've got lined up? But I do think it'll be the kind of player. Either it'll be, I think, someone kind of young Kamara type, top level, or I think it'll be an experienced head, a la the Acuna, like Links, that kind of player.
Yeah, Ahmed says there, it'd be nice to get a strong physical presence in midfield as we lack that strength in the middle sometimes. And Gary, talking a dad's army, which we are probably on the pod. We need a Captain Mannering type in midfield so we don't panic too much at the end of the season.
Out of all of that is using the TV show that was out when we were all born, basically. So it's not on that.
Before I pop to you, Rich, and kind of get your opinion, I was saying this to George the other night. For me, right back and centre and striker is the one, and I think it's Dale who's mentioned it there. Back up to get 5 to 8 goals and assists. So he said Morales from Villarreal. He may be 34, 35, but a very good player.
Young player.
That could be someone. But for me, it's like who is going to come in and not take Watkins' crown, but could effectively get you 7, 8 goals in that last part of the season. Now, for me, I think it has to be someone like Kelechi Iheanacho or Patson Daka from Leicester. Those are the two for me that you would go for, right? Because they'll come into a Premier League side. They've played Premier League football before. They've scored goals before, and they won't usurp Watkins in terms of like wanting to play all the time. Then for the right back, I've said again, I'd raid Leicester if he's still fit for James Justin, who we were
linked with him,
very and
Very
very highly rated. Probably 2 or 3 years ago. Then I think he had a really bad injury, so I don't know if he's currently playing as it shouts at the moment. But for me, I would be looking for them just because we ain't going to get anyone that is. Why would you, like you said, why would you want to spend 50 million, 60 million in January on someone to replace Ollie Watkins? Like you want someone to supplement.
I see this differently, right? So I don't think we need a right back. I think Konza's been absolutely magnificent since when he's played there, and we've got enough in defence to cover us, right? I think you got a Konza in cash. Look, there might be an injury to a Torres or a Carlos or something, and then you're playing Konza centre back again. But I think we were right there. I think more than ever, Aston Villa are in the shop window, and there are. And I mean, look, the challenge is finding someone at that next level that is going to want to come to Villa because they're arguably going to be in their team scoring lots of goals. I mean, Sam, if he's watching, is probably going to love me for these two comments. But firstly, I think there is better than Watkins out there that we can go and get. So I don't think we should be looking at someone to come and supplement what Watkins does. I think we're looking at someone now.
I don't think you get that in January though.
No, but so
You get
that's
you get that in the summer.
you're
You
totally
ain't getting
right.
better than that in January. No way.
You're totally right, but that's the challenge. I don't think that the Villa board should be going, right, let's buy someone that's all right coming off the bench and might get 8 goals. The hurdle is it's really difficult to go get them. I understand that totally, but if we from this position want to push on, we absolutely have to spend money on a goal scorer. Now, if we don't, I'm sure Watkins will still do really well for the rest of the season. I mean, we're crying out for a Cameron Archer, right? If we had a Cameron Archer on the bench now, I don't think we'd necessarily be talking about going out to buy another striker.
Maybe, but he hasn't.
No,
I just don't think physically he's got it. Like he's a cracking player, but
you've seen some of those balls that McGinn plays round the corner. Like,
yeah, but
there's someone like him onto them.
He wouldn't be allowed to get to that ball. Like the defender would just go, yeah, get on the weights, mate.
But my point is, we have never been more attractive to top players. And if we wait till the summer, we might not be as attractive. Listen, I'm sure that the journey will continue and Emery will still be with Aston Villa and will be fantastic and we'll get better and better, but we might not. So why would we not take the opportunity? I'm not saying it's easy. It's really hard. I'm saying you're probably going to spend over the odds to get a player, etc., etc. I just don't think a championship player coming to play for us is the level we need.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that point. To be fair, particularly the latter bit. Patson Daka's got 1 or 2 goals this season. Iheanacho's probably got 6. I think Iheanacho before this season, I probably would have seen as being someone, but I don't think he's ripped it up in the Championship. So for me, I wouldn't see that. Kyle Walker-Peters definitely at right back option. I think he's a crack.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah.
Have you had that? Yeah, great shout, Ahmed. Yeah, I think he's great. He's young. He's got Premier experience. I think he's a really, really good player. Every bit of me, every sinew is straining to kind of go, you know what, Rich, I totally agree. Like, this is the opportunity to kick on. But knowing how I've seen what Emery's been like and what he's been like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's very reserved. He's very patient.
Yeah, he'll back his squad. But then also when you look at it, we're the 3rd top scorers in the league. And actually, we're only behind Man City by 3 goals. We've got 35. Liverpool have got 36. Man City have got 38. So we're not struggling to score goals. And this is the year, for the first time, where we've really added goals from midfield. Look at Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, Leon Bailey, Moussa Diaby. So, and then Ramsey's got a good eye for a goal, and he's been injured most of the season. So I do think we need attacking reinforcements. I can see us potentially replacing a Zaniolo, or I hope Zaniolo comes good. But, we haven't done many loans.
He ain't going to come good.
Well,
everyone's saying in there, get rid of him.
He's our wild card, isn't he? He's our wild card.
Would Iheanacho do any worse than Zaniolo?
Yeah, but that's not the discussion, isn't it? Because you can't say in one breath, shit, get rid of him, and then go, we'll just bring someone slightly better than him. He wouldn't.
He might get a goal.
Well, he might.
He might get
a goal.
He might make an assist.
See,
he might have to pass to a Villa player.
I agree with your point on Emery that I think he's not going to rush into anything. It's his decision, and the authority he has within the club, kind of what he says goes. So it wouldn't surprise me if we went through January and didn't sign anyone.
Same here. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
I'd like for us to go and spend big though.
Yeah, and I also think as well, like I know
Rich says that. Sorry, Rich says that he'll wait to the summer because if we get Champions League football, yeah. I know I talk about this mystical black book of Monchi's, but if you think about it, like there's been some links to some Spanish players in the summer in terms of who we bought. Sure, we bought Pau Torres, but we didn't buy anyone else from that league, really, obviously. So if you look at what
we think there's probably movements in the background about certain players. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of which teams are maybe not in Europe or have been knocked out of Europe and therefore might be available. And can you get people? Everything I've read about Villa, Emery's after a fast, direct, like winger/striker. You know, that Williams of Atletico type of profile, where someone who can really direct and just basically like bomb on. Hence why I probably think he was looking at a Doku as well as an option. Apparently that Doku was as well as Diaby in terms of what I was reading over the summer. So if there is someone out there, and Buemo would be a great shout as well, but that's the kind of profile I can see coming in from the continent.
Yeah. Few people saying, Aurelio said Zaniolo will come good. Look, again, I hope he does. I really hope he does. Ahmed saying, rather keep faith in Duran. Rub saying, Daka, Iheanacho, not sure you get performances from them if they play 20 minutes here and there. They smell a bit like Ings type of signings. Yeah, fair enough. Rich saying Danny will come good as well. A few people saying, obviously we've played a couple of good, decent sides in the Conference League. What about this? The guy from Legia, is it Micha or Michu or something? His name, and then the one from AZ. Sorry, Mookie. Mookie, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Mookie or Micha or something.
Yeah, and yeah, we're killing his name here. And then someone else meant
we're going to fire the research team, right?
And then someone mentioned that Pavlidis or something from AZ Alkmaar. So, has there been anyone in the conference? I really was impressed with the guy from Legia. I really was. I think he's 22, 23. Rub saying Pavlidis as well, the striker.
Yeah,
yes.
Mucci's Legia and Pavlidis is
AZ, yeah.
I don't know if I know enough about. I mean, I think this is the problem, isn't it? Like Liverpool bought, Diao and Diouf from the 2002 World Cup because they had a good World Cup. Didn't tear up the Premier League, and it happens a lot, doesn't it? You get a player that as play well in the World Cup or Euros, get a big move. Do I know enough about them, and do I think that Villa will be seduced by a couple of performances in the Conference League? Probably
absolutely
not.
Yeah.
But Mucci does look like a bit of a baller. Like he scored a couple of good goals against us.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. I think he's doing well in that league, and that Pavlidis is definitely doing well in the Dutch league. I think he's. But then many a club has signed the top scorer from the Dutch league, and then they've generally flattered to deceive. Yeah. Ruud van or Alfonso Alves for Middlesbrough didn't do very well either. Yeah. But someone that Bayano has got a 51 million release clause. I did see that as well mentioned in the Birmingham Mail around that, and I guess you talk about with Monchi's Black Book's getting mentioned quite a lot in this podcast tonight, but we talked about that. And I did actually think before we came on the pod, obviously Moreno was signed, in the window. You talk about Emery knowing his players, and a January window is probably a time to sign players that that the manager knows will come in and be able to almost hit the ground running like a Moreno did or whatever, because otherwise you wait in 2 or 3 months for someone to get used to how you want them to play, and particularly with an Unai Emery team, and particularly a team that is already, we hope, continuing that momentum. So it would seem if Emery's going to make a signing, it would be someone who is familiar with, or at least knows.
Yeah, I think that Buena, however you pronounce it, and also that Yeremy Pino as well. I can see one of those two type profile. We've also been linked with this striker. I think an Israeli striker I've seen.
Yes, young lad. Yeah.
He's meant to be absolute mustard as well. But I don't know, really. I don't know. All I know is that I thought we were going to bring in a forward in January, and in the summer. And of course, we went into this season thinking, we're a bit light, and we've got to December and we've not done too bad in terms of goal scoring. Potentially some of those options we had in the summer might now be available. Their contracts coming towards an end. Who knows? But I am with Rich very much on that. I think this is, for me, would be a missed opportunity. I wouldn't be surprised if Unai didn't, and I trust Unai with my life and my kid's life. But I would like us to just kick on a little bit.
Yeah. Pavlidis apparently has 18 goals in 15 games this season.
Dutch league doing it.
Yeah. a couple of people, just one of the bit on the transfers, have mentioned about the goalkeeping situation, and that's the other position where if we did get an injury, Rich, you mentioned we would be really struggling. And I've said, obviously, other teams are in that kind of same predicament, but apparently it looks like Olsen's injured as well at the
right,
moment,
okay.
so that Marshall's been on the bench the last 2 games. So it'd be interesting to see if he gets a game on Thursday night, actually. But do we go in for a reserve goalkeeper and try and get someone in, or do you think, as Deco said, Olsen's kind of okay in terms of that backup position?
Yeah, I think it's even harder to bring a good goalkeeper in to play second fiddle than it is to bring a striker, because a striker will come in and think, I'll make that team. I'll push Watkins out. I'll be all right. Goalkeeper, you ain't got a chance really. You're not going to. Martinez is. Look, clearly there's the opportunity for Martinez to play poorly and for that goalkeeper to get their chance, but no one's going to come in and think they're going to move world's number one, from net. So yeah, I agree with what Deco said there. Olsen will do for me.
Yeah, he's been linked to Newcastle, Olsen.
Has he?
Has he?
Yeah. I saw a link to Newcastle, which surprised me. Might be some gutter journalism, but I can only see Olsen going if we had a suitable backup already lined up. But I think Olsen's got better and better the more he's played. I think that myth of Olsen, like every time he touches the ball, we're like classic Villa like fans. Oh, here we go. What's going to happen here? And actually, the last game he was he wasn't too bad, was he, in Europe? The last game?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't at all. And it's one of those where it's very difficult for a goalkeeper just come in and just play like they've always been there. Like, you with the best will in the world, you're going to take a little bit of time to warm up, and you almost want like a good, a solid shot just so you can claim it, or a cross to come in just to settle you down. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Like you say, lads, we could go all out. We could sign a couple of solid players, or we could do none. We could do none of the above.
Yeah, listen, and as Kev said, in Emery we trust, and we still might get to the summer being a brilliant position, have Champions League football, and then that's a more intelligent time to splash the cash, and you're not going to have to spend you're not going to have to add the January premium onto it. So yeah, I don't know. It could be anything. Anything could happen.
Yes. Okay, so we'll come to people's questions in a bit as well. So get any other little questions that you want in, people, just around players, off the pitch issues, anything you want to talk about around the Villa. I did want to just cover. It was put in the news around the ground, and obviously I don't know if it's snuck in really around this. Obviously the Villa Park is getting redeveloped, but the news came out the other day, Kev, that the capacity is going to be reduced to 36,000 for, I don't know if it's from next season, up until 25-26. Now, obviously, it'll be we want to get Champions League football. We want to do all this. We know it's going to pay off in the long run, a 50,000 seater stadium, but is that a little bit of a, I know, I guess it's a necessary evil, but is that a wee bit of a concern that we're going to have a condensed capacity for a couple of years?
I mean, clearly you don't want to reduce the power of the atmosphere of Villa Park when it's on fire. But I remember the original plans were to build behind the North Stand. They scrapped that. I think that was even back in the summer that was announced that they scrapped that and decided they were going to knock it down. Obviously, it's come through a bit more lately in terms of the news. You're absolutely right, Rich. It is a necessary evil. And if we want to have this club for the future, way beyond all of us, and our, for our kids and our grandkids, and then this club will carry on, then it needs to now, if it wants to stay at this elite level, have more fans in the ground. I still don't think 50,000 is enough anyway. So, and I think there's obviously plans down the line to maybe tweak a few more areas, but it's got to happen, hasn't it? Really, the waiting list is massive, and there's opportunities there with the footprint of Villa to expand and add to it, not just in terms of obviously the Villa Live stuff and all the the hotel, whatever, but with getting more people in the ground.
Yeah. Rich, do you think it's kind of a price worth paying for the time being to kind of get that atmosphere smashed like up there in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen that Liverpool have only recently opened their new stand,
Yeah.
so they were down a fair few for a while. The other option you've got is you just go and build a new stadium. I mean, Villa Park couldn't be positioned any worse than it is at the moment. It's like it's almost impossible to get away from. But I agree with what Kev has pointed out there. It's a necessary evil. You know, there's going to we need to grow into the club that we can become, and that means adding a few more seats. Did it say in that report what it would take our capacity up to? You mentioned 50,000.
I'm pretty sure it's over 50,000. Is it 51,000, Kev, or something it's going to go to? 52?
It has to be at least 50 because we need
Yeah.
that to host the Euros game.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And then there's yeah. Go on, sorry, mate. Go on.
Yeah, that's the requirement basically. If you want to be one of the teams, when we went for that, then you had to have a capacity of at least 50,000. So at least that. I think it's a touch over 50,000. And I do think they've talked about doing stuff to other parts of the ground as well to maybe sneak a few more seats in. But you know how easy that will be to do, I don't know.
Yeah, and they've talked about obviously where they have the fun zone at the minute, putting that as like the main offices, and also changing that to like some sort of bar area. They also talked about that kind of,
that's a
I guess,
shithole,
box
that
park
building.
type atmosphere. Yeah, so there's going to be some other things that are going to be built around there. So it will be fantastic. It's just such a you obviously you want to be making these ground improvements when you're doing well, because you don't want to be like an Everton who actually admittedly at the moment are starting to turn a corner, but you move into a new stadium when you've got the risk of relegation hanging over your heads. But at the same point, you want to be in that massive stadium when you're just getting Champions League or just getting Europa League or whatever. You know, it's one of those.
There's a bit in between the Holt and the Trinity that would probably stop a few flying bottles of mayonnaise that could fill in with a few seats. There's definitely space there, but you're absolutely right.
Just make a really, really terrible joke. Can I make a really terrible joke? Flying bottles of sauce. If it was peri peri sauce, we could call that bit in between the peri peri name. Sorry, I'm done. See you later, bye.
The what?
The peri peri name. Sorry, the bit in between. Sorry, it's really bad. It's a bawdy joke. It's 10:20. I'm sorry. I apologise. I just want to say
this is why I don't come on that often.
Yeah.
Some people will definitely get it in the chat. Some people will definitely get it.
Nice. But yeah, like you say, boys, it's something that's got to be done, and the stadium will look great. And obviously for the Euros, yes, for the Euros, it'll be looking very, very smart. Couple of other questions coming in. I think Rich had mentioned about who the most improved player has been so far this season. Now I know we did kind of the fans forum with the lads from the Up the Villa podcast a couple of weeks back, and we talked about a player who'd really impressed us, and we talked about kind of someone who we wanted to we were excited to see more from. But yeah, who's been that who's been the kind of the most improved player for you boys?
I'll go first.
Just a second. Everyone's giving you shit for your joke, Kev.
Listen, dad jokes are my thing, so I'll take that. Thanks.
We'll have to get Max to clip it up, see if anyone finds it funny.
No,
on Twitter.
It's too rude for X that. It actually there's another joke. Sorry, there you
go. So there's a few names flying in. It's a tricky one because there's without wanting to look at those names, there's some really great suggestions there. I think it has to, for me, be Bailey, just because of how poor he's been in a Villa shirt and how good he now is. I think Dean has been fantastic, but I think he's shown that at times. Previously, John McGinn has shown at times how great he can be for Aston Villa. Bailey's never shown the level that he's producing at the moment.
Yeah, certainly since he's put his socks down a few inches. Low socks Bailey is just incredible.
We just watched a few videos of Grealish, didn't he? He was like, right, this is what I'll do. I'll just do that and it'll work. So yeah, for me, it's Bailey.
Yeah. CC says McGinn or Bailey. Deco says John McGinn or Dougie. Lee says Bailey is most improved, of course. Deco says Bailey as well. Luca Dean says Adamski. Michael said player of the season is going to be very hard.
Said Luca Dean.
Oh yeah, Adamski says Luca Dean. Yeah.
I mean,
not Bailey says Luca Dean.
Adamski might be great. This could be his chance.
Yeah.
Get him on. He could be the January transfer signing.
Ahmed says Bailey. Gary says Torres from the Newcastle match. Definitely. Steve 24/7 says Kev has got to say Bailey. We'll see. We shall see. Rich says Bailey, Watkins, or McGinn. Aurelio says Conser for me has stepped up. Dale says Bailey's gone from 0 to 100. Deco says Bailey's given Kev a Damascene conversation is being that good. Aurelio says not going to argue against Bailey. This is why I think Zaniolo will turn up. Dale says staying fit is his best achievement of the year. People saying hope Zaniolo can do a Bailey as well. Lee says that. Yeah, Rich said socks down Bailey's like a cheat code. CC says I agree about Bailey. It's not even what he does going forward. It's how he supports in the defence in a meaningful way. Spengden says wouldn't say Bailey has never shown he had potential. It's more accurate to say he's been hampered by injuries. Gary said that's why we are third. Everyone has improved. So Kev, the suspense is killing us.
Dendonka for me, I think. No,
that 20-minute cameo the other night.
Amazing. Other than that errant pass,
that was funny. The other joke.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it was actually.
Yeah.
How often when someone says the bit in between, and then you think about sauce, and you think peri sauce, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. 100% Leon Bailey for me. Like it's not even in doubt. Sure, he's had his injury problems, but even when he was playing before, his decision making was terrible. The ball was bouncing off him. He'd do an unbelievable touch, then he'd kick it out of play. The consistency this season, he's got 8 goals and 6 assists. You know, and that is a phenomenal outlay for a player who isn't starting every game as well. So for me, 100% Mr. Leon Bailey, absolutely. And by the way, those who haven't seen the content today of like the Villa players with the noise cancelling earphones on, where another player says something to them and they've got to try and guess what they're saying. The McGinn and Bailey one's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. McGinn has to put an English accent on to try and get Bailey to understand what he's saying. He still doesn't understand.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. What I really like, and I said this the other night, is the way that, and Gary's mentioned it there, he's more two-footed now. He's got that confidence to go both ways now. So he'll cut inside the first 2 or 3 times, and then the next time he'll go out on the outside and cross it with his right foot. So then that defender just doesn't know which way he's going to go. You saw the way he beat Gabriel the other day in terms of the goal for McGinn. And then the game before against Man City against Gvardiol, he just didn't know which way he was going to go. So that's the beauty of a winger.
I think it's his movement when he doesn't have the ball as well. So the goal against Man City, he gets that half a yard even before the ball comes to him, and then he goes. And I remember when we had Coutinho, and the few games he played well, he had that. Before the ball even came to me, he's created space for himself. I still think Bailey tricks himself. I still think things happen when he's got the ball that he doesn't mean for them to happen, but he's now in control of that ball, so he gets a second, third opportunity. I think he's fantastic. I'm sure Kevin and I spoke at the Arsenal game, and when we signed Diaby, we'd said, that's the player we thought we were getting with Bailey, and now Bailey has become that player as well. So to keep Diaby on the bench like he's doing, he's doing phenomenally well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly before we finish up, we will do a full kind of Zrinski preview tomorrow. I think we'll try and get one out tomorrow, but with kind of Zrinski on Thursday in mind for then looking at Sunday's game. Are you expecting quite a few changes, Kev, for Thursday night?
I'm expecting a hell of a lot of changes. Yeah, I really am. You can't take any game in Europe for granted, and as we saw at home against Zrinski, we struggled to get a goal, but it'll be different. They'll be expected to play a bit more at their own place. I don't think they'll sit behind the ball as much as they did. It was very difficult to break them down. And even our second string, if this is the perfect game, for a Durant, for a Longley, for a Dendoncker, for a Diaby to come in and replace Bailey, for a Ramsey to get a start, for Moreno, obviously he's not played much lately to get his fitness back. So I just think this is ideal. You might even see an Irabonum play him. You might even see some of the players that are kicking around the squad. Callum Chambers might get a game. Yeah, who knows? I would expect to see. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an entire team change. Clearly, we don't want the extra games that you'll get if you finish second. We've definitely qualified for the next stage, but we don't want to be playing a third-place Europa League team, in a playoff to get to the next stages. But you've got to back us, even if we start with that team and then we go a goal down, get to half time. If he then brings on, you've got 5 subs. You can bring on a Watkins, a Louise, a McGinn, a Bailey to try and get the game. But we only need a point, don't we?
Yeah. Rich, echo Kev's thoughts there with changes.
Yeah, I think you'll see Kellyman starting.
He's injured.
Injured.
I think he's injured. So he's mentioned, will Big Tim get a start?
That's a shame. He played well against Hibs when he got his start. But yeah, I agree. Emery will be looking at whatever side he can put out that will compete, and then he'll have a bench full of first teamers to bring on if need be.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at what Moreno will probably get a bit of a run out, or actually saying that Dina's out, isn't he, for Sunday? So Dina and Louise might start. I think
Perhaps, you're right. Actually, yeah.
I think Dendoncker will get a game. Ramsey might get some minutes under his belt. Diaby, thinking the Diaby will come in. Zaniolo might even come in.
I think Zaniolo will play. Dendoncker will play. You'll see it. You might have one. Dougie will probably play because he's suspended on Sunday, and the other two, McGinn and Kamal, will be rested.
They're not bad backups, coming in. They're not bad.
Duran up front as well.
No, they're not. They're not. They're just not Premier League winning squad backups.
Not yet. No, yet.
Winning. Yeah.
Well, I will say, you mentioned it earlier. I thought Dendoncker looked really good when he came on. He was just he added a different dimension to that midfield.
Yes. Yeah, he was what we needed at the time, definitely. And it's the same almost with like when we talked about a goalkeeper start playing a game when they haven't played for ages. When he came on, he got into like a real crunching tackle, and it was a really well-timed tackle, and then that got him into the game, and then he started playing some nice passes and stuff. Jonathan, our pal, said do need to get a point though. Don't want 2 more games in Feb, which is exactly what you were saying, Kev. So we don't want to be too disrespectful. We know we've got a good squad. We know we've got a good side, but we know it's been tough. They were a tough nut to crack in the home game. But I do obviously the game against Legia, we scored 2 goals away from home. We conceded some daft goals. We won won really clinically in AZ 4-1, clinical performance. So in a lot of ways, we've kind of scored fairly freely away from home in this Conference League. It's been at home where where the games have been really tight. So it might be that Zrinski are forced to come at us a little bit. Big chance to play Villa. They might open up a bit more and allow us to exploit the space. So we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, boys, we'll do a full. Like I say, we'll do a full match preview on that and on that tomorrow. I think that does us for the night. Actually one more little chat. Anything on kind of the ladies team, Kev? Because lost again on the weekend. Second from bottom, is it at the minute? It's not looking good.
It's not looking good. There was a little bit of a rallying spell, wasn't there? We won a couple of games against some teams that are around us, but third bottom. We've got a couple of wins, and then a couple of defeats now. So yeah, it's not great considering the heights of last season. It's been very, very disappointing this season, and I don't know what it is. Is it that people found out about they seem to be nullifying us now, the teams, and obviously there's been some injuries. There's luckily they've got hopefully a winnable game in the Women's League Cup coming up against Durham women. So not a top team, so we should get that. And then there's a big game against Brighton coming up. Because obviously, when you play the top teams in the league, you know that you're going to get no change. But Brighton are the team ahead of Villa, so it's a Carla Ward. If you're staying down ever too long, your job might be at risk. And it's such a shame because last season, I felt like the men's and the women's team were on the upward trajectory together. But not been great so far.
No. Gary said no noise coming out of the women's camp. Who sacks her if it happens? I mean, I was thinking that myself. Like, I know I said it a good few weeks ago now. I get the impression that, I don't know if it's like, I think, Perslow was kind of a real champion for the women's team in terms of like, that business model. And I don't know whether the focus has shifted a little bit from the women's team for whatever reason, with the kind of new setup. Maybe it'll start to come back, but I just don't see as much of a kind of focus at the moment. Maybe that's just down to results as well. Yeah. But we'll see. But yeah, hopefully they do kind of turn it around, because it'd be really good. What Tico said, they won't sack her. They'll just get Kev to try that joke again, and she'll leave on her own.
If they need me, I'm happy to do a 5-minute spell, open mic spell, see if it works.
It'll empty the room though. That's the problem. Deco,
all
the male players as well.
Will leave as well. Yeah.
Everybody will leave the room. Everybody will leave the room and go into that bit in between the two rooms, which is known as the no. Sorry, move on. Sorry, I've done it again.
You'll keep trying to force that joke, and no one will laugh. Right, that seems like a good place to finish, guys. If you haven't already, please smash the like button. We are so close to 3K. I'm sure we're going to do it before Christmas. We've got, like I say, less than 150 to go. So please do help us on that road. Like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Keep pushing it on all social media as well. Help us to smash through that 3K barrier. Boys, thank you very much for your time. It is lovely doing the fans forum. Just a bit of a Villa chat, which is what we want. Like I said, we'll be back later in the week for match previews, match reactions, talking tactics, all that jazz. If you haven't already, catch talking tactics from before with Gareth. It was a great show. So he puts a lot of time into that. So do check that out if you haven't already. But we'll be back later in the week. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.